musical accompaniment, holding space for us. With this sound healing, this didgeridoo and the jump. Thank you for co-creating the vibration of the meditation with me. And our guest speaker today is Gesun Yoo. She's a beautiful, beautiful healer that we got to know through the Celebrate Your Radiance, formerly known as Honoring Our Elders, that we do over in Clubhouse 7. Yesterday, on the second Saturday of the month, and every second Saturday of the month, the Temple of Light and the Healthy Living Club sponsor this event over in Clubhouse 7 at Laguna Woods, where we take 25 to 30 healers every month, and we work on anybody who wishes to come in. It's supposed to be 55 and over, but there's a lot of people there that, if I heard it, they want 55. It doesn't really matter. Once a month we make a dedication of taking healers over there and just introducing all the different modalities. So if you know any healers that feel like they want to build their confidence, get some practice, and do a service, it's a really beautiful day. I unfortunately missed it yesterday as I'm nursing an aching foot. But was it a nice day yesterday? Beautiful as usual. Good, good. A lot of regulars show up, don't they? They get there right at 10 o'clock, and they've got their list of all the people they want to see, and they go around from table to table. But for a lot of people, this is a way of us sharing what it is that we do, and having a day when we offer it free helps people feel as though they can come in and sample it without being at risk of having a bad session or not connecting with the healer. So it's a really beautiful day. Thank you for being a part of it for so long.
Thank you for making all this possible. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That made me cry. My topic today, and all of my topics generally tend to go to dovetail around the idea of how empowered we are personally when we go into our heart space. And for those of you that may not have understood the connection between our name, the Temple of Light, a temple is a gathering place. It's a gathering place of light. And that isn't this building, although that certainly happens here. The Temple of Light is right here. The gathering of light is right here in our heart space. That's where it gathers, co-creates, expands, exponentiates. It's where it swells up and goes beyond our heart space energy and goes out to other people. This is where the Temple of Light is. It's not these four walls. Knowing that and using that in every day is what allows us to either experience a day or be in a state of reaction in a day. A day is just a day. Every morning we get up, and a day is 24 hours today, like it will be tomorrow, and like it was yesterday. How we see that day and how we experience it is based purely, 100% on our reactions and our attitudes, and how we project our emotions and beliefs on that day. We have this expression, did you have a nice day? And a lot of people will hear that expression and start contemplating what happened to them that day. I avoid now, I used to use that expression, oh, this happened to me today. That's a really disempowering statement. That says that there are things out there, cosmic forces, that are beyond my control, that I am simply a sitting duck waiting for things to happen that could be good or it could be bad. It's one of the most disempowering thought processes we can have. And it really is a matter of putting on your rose-colored glasses and seeing things for what they are. So I'm sitting here with a brace on my ankle, and it was the silliest thing. I was over at the architect's office on Wednesday, who's doing the drawings for our new building, assembly room, and as I was sitting talking to him, I caught my sandal underneath the lip of his conference room table, and as I pulled my foot out, the sandal gave resistance. The sandal ended up breaking, and I looked down and I went, oh man, my face favorite sandal. Those are my little corks with gold-studded silver things on them. So I walked around the rest of the day barefoot since my sandal was broken. And it wasn't until that evening I got a massage with Debbie Del Rio here, who's fantastic, by the way, one of our practitioners here. And just as she put her hand on my foot, I went, oh, ow. And it progressively got worse, and then it got worse the next day, and I kept thinking, oh, it'll get better tomorrow. It just got sore. When it didn't get better, I had to start tapping into my medical intuitive abilities and start saying, okay, what's my body trying to tell me here? Usually the feet are about moving forward, the ankles, the knees, anything in the legs takes us forward. Sometimes we walk backward, but 99% of the time, sometimes we walk sideways, but 99% of the time the legs are about moving forward. So any injuries in the knees and ankles are about how we feel about our immediate future, stepping into it. So I thought, okay, let me inventory my feelings here. Let me gain some perspective, because I could just be really annoyed that I hurt my ankle and, be grumpy about it, which I was for the first day. And then I decided to change my perspective and understand what it was trying to tell me. So I did some deep meditation last night. I went to the doctor yesterday afternoon, and cardio is very good. They did an x-ray and confirmed there was no fracture, and confirmed it was a sprain, and gave me crutches and a brace. And as the doctor said, it'll take 4 to 6 weeks for it to stop hurting, and a year for it to be completely healed. And I went, oh, no. That's not how it's going to work. I know when I put light into my foot that it will heal automatically. And that while it's in a state of pain, I have not yet understood the message of what's going on with my foot. So I did a lot of meditation last night, and I thought maybe I'm nervous about the building, maybe I'm nervous about all the work that has to be done, maybe I'm feeling pressured. But in actual fact, what came clear was it wasn't everything that needed to be done, it was my sense of urgency, that I was hitting everything really hard and fast. And I'm noticing now as I'm walking, I can walk without the crutches as long as I walk really slow. And I take down my pace. And I noticed as I was walking around, as slow as I had to go, like just going across the courtyard to the ladies' room, I had to slow down so much that I was actually able to look at the trees while I was on my way there. And I went, I get it. It's about just embracing every single moment and enjoying the journey and not rushing to the end result. And that's what my foot is telling me, that I'm rushing too much to the end result. And it's holding fast. I put all kinds of love and light on it last night, but it's holding fast that it's not going to heal until I actually get that all the way through. Now I can change my perspective. I can be annoyed at my ankle, or I can say thank you. So I sat there last night in meditation, and I thanked him. I said, thank you for pointing this out to me. Thank you for taking on that burden and giving me pain so that I could get the message loud and clear that I'm forgetting to enjoy the journey along the way. I'm forgetting to see all the joy of everything I'm doing, and I'm just focusing on the end result. And I'm over there like a Japanese speed bullet train, just going from here to there, and I'm not even looking at all this beautiful scenery along the way. And now it's tingling as I'm saying that. I know that's the truth on this. So there is order in chaos. Everything that shows up has a reason. It is something I created. My foot didn't do this to punish me. But this is something I'm creating, that a part of my body is simply reflecting an emotion that I have. I know, irrefutably, without a shred of a doubt, every aspect of reality I see around me is in some form, in some way, a projection of a thought that I have, either conscious or subconscious. And how I relate and react to those thoughts and create emotions around them creates the reality that I see and feel. And it just loops back. because I think a thought, it goes out there, I have an emotion attached to it, I see it, and it comes back in as a confirmation. So I have an expression that I've adopted recently. I manifest what I want, not what I don't want. And as I was sitting here thinking, and I heard the doctor say yesterday a year, and I was sort of thinking, okay, it's going to be 4 weeks. I'm like, no, I'm not going to manifest that. I'm not going to embrace that thought process. I'm going to embrace a thought process where first I know it's not about the accident, because there are no accidents. There never is. I look like one, but nothing happens randomly. Everything comes from something. Think about that really. Do you think we live in a world where things just randomly happen for no reason? That's not possible. We're a world of energy. We're a world of connectivity. We're a world where we have angels and spirit guides and ascended masters and teachers and an energy from the earth, an energy from the sea, and everything about our atmosphere is the collective co-creation of all the thought processes that are out there. Nothing can possibly be random. Everything is a creation of an idea or a thought or a belief. The fact that some of you are sitting on blue chairs and some of you are sitting on red chairs is because the manufacturer created it. I acknowledged I was ordering blue chairs, and a year later I ordered red chairs, and I put them in here in this room. And that is an accumulation of many, many people's thought processes that you're sitting in those chairs. We could, as a group, all decide these chairs were green and black. And if we all decided that and got past any beliefs that we have to the contrary, we could actually molecularly change these chairs to be a different color. There are probably more important things to apply that kind of clear thinking process to, like clean energy and world hunger. But it's just simply an example of the world that we know that we can create. And so I would ask you to inventory your day and go through and observe. And if something upsets you, then, as A Course in Miracles will always say, you're never upset for the reason you think you are. Something will pop up and show you the reality that is in there deep somewhere, that's come from a different source long ago, that is unreconciled, that is still running this program, and then it shows up in front of you. So an example would be, if you had an experience when you were 6 or 7 years old and you had a birthday party and maybe some of the people you invited didn't come, and you heard some of other people say, well, they don't really like you. That isn't really true, of course, because we're all likable, but if you took that instance and said, I'm not likable, then every day for the rest of your life, as things happen and you see things, you will extract from that a perspective of, oh, I'm not likable. You didn't get the job. Instead of deciding that that wasn't the right job, it wasn't the right pay, it wasn't the best one for me, that old program of, well, they must not have liked me. And you go on a date, and you're in a relationship, and it doesn't work out, then instead of deciding we weren't an energetic match, it wasn't perfect for us to be together, we had no growth in our connections, out comes that old program, they didn't like me. And so do you see how we can take things that have a normal, just happening, and then we take these emotions and we project on it, and we create a reality that doesn't actually exist, but it's really real to us. You don't have to go through all the processes of healing every single emotion in there. I'm not even sure that's possible. But you can heal enough to open sacred space and get clarity. And when something happens that you observe, You can choose to say, okay, I could really easily go there and decide that it's about me and I'm not likable, or I can say, I understand, I have this emotion in here that I'm working on, and I'm going to discern that that isn't the case here. And I'm going to calm down, I'm going to come back. So you can open sacred space and be in a place of grace without having to reconcile and be in harmony with every single human thing that has ever been witnessed by you, that you recorded a belief around. I almost said happened to you. When I was reading Eckhart Tolle's book On a New Earth, in the very first chapter or two, he describes a situation where a man is sitting in a restaurant and the waiter delivers the soup that he ordered. And the man is excited. He sits down and he takes out his napkin, lays it in his nap, and takes out that spoon, and he takes that first bite of soup, and it's cold. Now, how many of you have been in a situation where you've been in a restaurant and the waiter didn't get your order right, or it took a long time to come, or you tried to get their attention and the waiter was just, and you had to just practically stand up and do a tap dance to get their attention, or you got a baked potato instead of rice, or it was medium well instead of medium rare. I think we've all had these experiences where the order just didn't quite come right. And now be honest, how many of you had an emotional experience over that? That you got annoyed because you maybe carved out the time to go to that restaurant and you're spending your money and you really had your taste buds set on what it was that you ordered and it didn't come right. And then you're upset and you feel unacknowledged, unattended to, unheard, unseen. What if it was just, waiter, the soup is cold. Take it back and bring me one that's warm. What if it was just a fact? He didn't check the soup to see if it was warm enough. He was busy. He brought it. Now that he knows, he's going to go in there, he's going to get it warmer, and he's going to bring it back to you. As they used to say, how many people here used to watch Dragnet? The old sergeant, he would say, just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am. Let's just stick with the facts. A fact is a fact. A day is 24 hours. I'm human. I'm a female. I'm married. Those are facts. And then how I apply my emotions and how I decide to see my reality around those facts is a really personal, individual, private experience that rests with me and me alone. I am responsible for my own happiness. My husband can't make me happy. My dog can't make me happy. My kids can't make me happy. My parents can't make me happy. Nobody can do that for me. And by the way, they also can't make you unhappy. They are not responsible for your happiness or your unhappiness. It comes from in the near. Many of us have had really challenging childhoods where we didn't get the love and the nurturing from our parents. In fact, I'm sure all of us could come up with one or two scenarios that describe the imperfections of our parents, because, of course, our parents are human too, weren't they? And they were raised by our grandparents, their imperfect parents, who were raised by their imperfect parents. If we're lucky, our parents had a pretty good emotional harmony going on. If we're lucky, we were planned by our parents were happily married, they had financial stability, they were comfortable, they had emotional tools that they knew how to talk to each other, and they had agreements on how to raise kids, and so there was never any fights over it. Any takers so far? No? Not even one? Our parents did the best they could with the tools that they had. And so it is not our parents' responsibility to give us all of these things. They give us as much as they can. And it's our responsibility to fill in the blanks and connect the dots and work on our own happiness. And as we do that, we set the example. We become role models for our children and our brothers and even our parents that are still working through their stuff. And when people react, and we have this expression, we say, oh my goodness, she's behaving so childishly. Yes, there's a wounded inner child in there that hasn't yet reconciled something that's really driving their behavior. That is exactly what is happening. It is a child that's speaking. And instead of being judgmental of that, we can recognize, oh, we've just discovered and seen an emotion that occurred when this person was a child that is yet unrecognized. And so it is the child that is acting out. It all comes again down to perspective. When I hear myself behaving childishly, and yes, that does happen, I recognize, oh, there's a part of my inner child, something that happened to me when I was 3 or 4 years old, that because I was that age, I perceived it as happening to me. And I haven't yet gotten adult perspective on that. And that's how we heal the inner child. We go in there and describe to it, this is what you're feeling, but this is really the truth of it. We allow that child to grow up and gain perspective from the way an adult is. And that is really what healing is all about, is taking all of those inner child experiences and giving them individually, one by one, as they come up, the adult perspective. And then we recognize as the gaps start getting larger and larger and longer between our childish experiences and perspectives, then we know that we're gaining ground on the idea that as an adult we are responsible. I'm responsible for everything I do, everything I say, every vision I have, every manifestation I make. And it is the child that is in fear of things, isn't it? You know, as adults, we understand things differently. So as we go through life and we decide to start observing our life instead of reacting to it, responding instead of reacting, we can't change how other people experience life. And we can't change if somebody else reacts to a situation. We can only respond to them. We were recently working with a colleague, an elderly gentleman who is an esophageal cancer survivor. And he believes, whether this is true of course or not, we don't know, he believes he doesn't have the capacity that he used to, that his cancer may come back, and that his life is short, and that he's only got a certain amount of time to create a legacy for himself. He's frustrated, he's angry, and he's scared. And everything about his existence, he now looks at people and sees them as not serving his need. And so everybody lets him down, and he's disappointed by everybody around him. And he lashes out at people for not letting him have the reality that he thinks is everybody else's responsibility to give him. And as he lashed out at us, the first response was, oh my goodness. But immediately I counseled my staff and I said, send him love and light. More than anybody else we deal with, we're here to do that. It would be nice. Most of the people that come through this door are kind and generous and warm, but we do get people that come to this door that come through that really need what it is here that we offer. And so as my staff and I work together, we do get those phone calls where people are reacting to something. And at first, the staff was like, oh my goodness, this is so hard to deal with. No, send them love and light. Spirit guided them to call us for whatever reason, and to get agitated and to lash out, because Spirit knew we'd be able to sit here and talk to them. And we love them, and we love them, and we say kind things to them, and we acknowledge them, and we speak, and all of a sudden, we just feel them rolling around and changing how they feel. We respond with love to how whatever it is that they are reacting to. And you can't, it takes two people to fight. If one person's not fighting, the other person's just punching air. So we respond with love. We respond with love till all of a sudden they start acting in love. Because we'll always seek the higher vibration. The body will naturally, our mind, body, and spirit will always naturally seek the higher vibration when it's presented. This is how, when we respond to people, then the most difficult people will all of a sudden start turning around. Just send them love, and send them love. And it's never personal. You know, it goes both ways. You hear me lecture and say that whatever it is that we're feeling, if we're upset with somebody else, it's never, ever, even a little, not even once, truly about the other person. It's only about our internal here. And so if we come across somebody and they're acting that way, the same thing applies. It's about them. It's not about us. It's never about us. And if we can remember that, then we stop taking their behavior personally and we remember to send them love. Observing, staying in fact. My reactions are about my emotions. Somebody else's reactions are about their emotions. That's the fact. And if we can stay in a place of not getting triggered, then we have the ability